You'll notice something the first time you look inside a French woman's wardrobe, and it probably isn't what you expect. It's how little is in it. What you're looking at, without her ever calling it this, is a capsule wardrobe. The kind of understated elegance Coco Chanel built her empire on. The idea that fewer, better things will always outperform a rail full of maybes. If you're 65 and you've been buying coats for a while, you might own 15, maybe 20. A puffer for the cold days, a raincoat for the wet ones, something in a color you liked in a shop window 4 years ago and haven't touched since, something you can't quite bring yourself to give away. She owns 7, sometimes fewer, and she isn't saving money. Several of those 7 cost more than your entire coat rail put together. What she's doing is something else. Every coat she owns has one job, and only one, and when a coat can't name its job, it doesn't come into the house. So you're going to walk through those 7 with me. Not as a shopping list, but as a way of thinking. Because once you can see how the 7 fit together, you'll understand how a woman gets dressed in 90 seconds and looks, every single time, like she gave it thought. Start with the one she bought first. The camel wool overcoat. Knee-length, straight cut, no belt and no hood, in a color somewhere between sand and biscuit. This is your anchor. If she owns one serious coat, it's this one, and there's a good chance she bought it in her 40s and is still wearing it now. That's not an exaggeration. A good wool overcoat, well cut and properly looked after, will outlast almost everything else you own. Look for at least 70% wool content, because anything lower won't hold its shape through years of wear. She had it relined once. She has the shoulders pressed. It goes to the cleaners twice a year and no more, because overcleaning is what actually kills wool, and that's the part you're most likely to get wrong. Why camel and not black? Because camel is warmer against an older face. As you age, your skin loses a little of its natural warmth, what colorists call warm undertones, and a hard black sitting next to your jaw will pull the color straight out of you. Camel does the opposite. It lifts. It gives something back. The straight cut matters as much as the color does. No belt means no horizontal line across your middle, so the eye travels up and down instead of stopping at your waist. That one detail is doing more for your silhouette than anything you're wearing underneath it. She wears it over everything: trousers, a dress, a skirt and boots, a jumper and jeans on a Saturday. It never looks wrong because it was never trying to be interesting. It was trying to be right. The second coat is the stone trench. Belted, classic collar, somewhere between cream and stone and never bright white. The trench coat has a long history. Burberry established the silhouette that started it all, and the reason it's barely changed in a century is that the proportions were already right. She knows this. She doesn't buy a trench that has improved upon anything. This is what you reach for in the weeks that aren't quite one season or the other. The mild gray days in March. The first cool evenings in September. It's the coat that gets worn most, because most of your days are those days. And here's the detail worth taking away, because it's really the whole thing. She ties the belt. She doesn't buckle it. Buckling pulls the coat into a fixed line at the tightest point and holds it there, which is exactly where you don't want attention drawn after 60. Tying lets the fabric fall into a soft, slightly loose knot, so the coat drapes instead of gripping. Your waist gets suggested rather than announced. It's a 2-second difference in how you put the coat on, and it changes the entire shape of you. She almost never fastens the front buttons either. The coat hangs open, the belt loose, and the whole thing moves as she walks. A trench done up to the throat reads as a uniform. A trench worn open reads as a woman on her way somewhere. Third is the navy peacoat. Short, double-breasted, heavy wool, hip length, and no longer. This is your everyday coat, the one on the hook by the door. She wears it to the market, to the pharmacy, to meet a friend for coffee, and she's probably had it long enough that the buttons have been replaced once. The length is the entire point, so let's be clear about it. A peacoat ends at your hip, right at the top of the thigh, and that proportion is deliberate. It leaves your whole leg visible below it. A great many coats sold to women over 60 end at mid-calf. And mid-calf is the one length that shortens almost everybody. It cuts your leg at its widest part and leaves a small stub of ankle underneath. Hip length does the reverse. The coat reads as a top, and everything below it reads as leg. Navy rather than black, again, for the same reason as the camel. Navy is softer at your face, it photographs beautifully, and it sits as easily with brown shoes as with black ones, which quietly doubles what you can wear underneath it. Fourth, the quilted jacket. Navy or dark green, short, practical, not remotely glamorous. It's here because leaving it out would be dishonest, and because you'll see it on every second woman in a French market town on a Sunday morning. It's for the garden, for the dog, for driving somewhere with no particular need to impress anyone. And the reason it belongs in a video about elegance is this. She isn't pretending the beautiful coats can do everything. She isn't wearing her camel overcoat to carry compost. Owning one genuinely practical coat is what protects the good ones, because it means your wool coat stays a wool coat instead of slowly becoming an all-purpose coat with a mark on the sleeve you've stopped noticing. There's a kind of dignity in owning something deliberately unglamorous. It means everything else you own gets to stay exactly what it was meant to be. Fifth is the bouclé jacket coat. Structured, short, textured wool with some weight to it, in cream or soft gray or a muted rose. This is your occasion piece that isn't quite formal. Lunch, a gallery, a birthday. The days that ask for more than a peacoat and stop well short of evening. If this silhouette looks familiar, it should. It's the Chanel jacket, the shape Coco Chanel refined into what became the defining silhouette of French pret-a-porter. And the reason it has never left is the same reason she invented it. It works. What bouclé does, and this is worth understanding properly, is hold a shoulder. Your shoulder line is where your silhouette is won or lost after 60. As you age, your shoulders soften and round very slightly, and a limp fabric will follow that line straight down. Bouclé won't. It's dense and springy enough to sit where it was cut, which gives your shoulder a defined edge and lets everything below it hang cleanly from that edge. That structure at the top is doing the work your frame used to do on its own. It's the single most flattering thing a jacket can offer you now, and it's why these jackets stay in wardrobes for decades. The texture helps as well, because bouclé catches light softly instead of flatly, and soft light is kinder to everything near it. Sixth, the long evening coat. Dark, full length or nearly, a proper collar, worn over dresses. Every French woman past 60 seems to own one of these, and here's what should strike you about it. She wears it. That sounds obvious. It isn't. You probably have a good coat in your wardrobe right now that you're saving. Saving for something better, for a proper occasion, for weather that finally justifies it. And it hangs there in its bag being saved until one day it's out of date or you're out of occasions. She doesn't do that. The evening coat goes over a dress for dinner at a friend's house on an ordinary Thursday. It goes to the theater and to a restaurant and to a funeral, and it goes anywhere at all that happens after dark. A coat you're saving isn't an asset. It's a regret in a garment bag. And seventh, the black wrap coat. Belted at the waist with a tie, no buttons, no collar, or a very soft one, in a fluid wool that moves. If you take one thing from this, take this one. The wrap coat is the most forgiving coat that exists, and almost nobody talks about it. Here's why. Nothing on it closes. Nothing buttons, nothing zips, nothing has to meet in the middle. You wrap one side across the other and tie it wherever it sits comfortably that day, which means the coat adjusts to you instead of the other way around. If you're carrying a little more around the middle than you were at 50, this coat doesn't care. If you're bloated one afternoon, it doesn't care. If you've got a heavy jumper on underneath, it simply wraps a fraction wider. There isn't a morning where this coat doesn't fit you. And because there's no collar and no hardware on it, there's no hard line anywhere near your face. It's soft edges and vertical fall, and the tie gives you a waist without ever gripping one. I've watched women try this coat on for the first time in their 60s and go quiet because it's the first coat in years that hasn't fought them. If you buy one coat this year, buy this one. So that's the 7, and none of it is really about taste. Each coat does one job that none of the others can do, which is why she can open that wardrobe on a cold Tuesday morning and not have to think about it at all. The French have a phrase for this kind of ease: bien dans sa peau, comfortable in your own skin. A well-chosen capsule wardrobe is one of the quieter ways of getting there. You could go and count your own coats tonight, and you'd probably find 3 or 4 you haven't worn in years and can't quite explain. You don't need to do anything drastic about them this week. Just notice which ones you keep reaching for instead, because those are the ones that already have a job, and they'll tell you what the others were supposed to be. And if you're only going to buy one thing this winter, make it the wrap coat. It's the one that will still fit you in 5 years. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this was useful to you, subscribe, because I make these for women who know that style only gets better with age.